By beginning this module, we are also beginning the new chapter for this subject, the chapter number 7, which is titled as Human Resource Strategy. And in this module, we will begin with our conventional practice. That is, first we will see what are the learning outcomes or learning objectives of this study or this chapter. And we will also see in this module what is human resource strategy. So the first learning objective is definitely related to what we will discuss in this chapter is define or a definition of HR strategy. Obviously, there are various definitions or numerous definitions exist for the subject, and it is hardly possible to discuss or even to read all the definitions. But we will see that what these definitions suggest us about the HR strategy. The second learning objective is that after completing this chapter, you must be able to explain several different approaches that can be used to develop HR strategy. The question is how the HR strategy is developed. So the third learning objective is to participate in the development of HR strategy. As a practitioner or from the practitioner point of view, after completing this chapter or after completing the whole course, fairly speaking, you should be able to participate in the process of strategy development, particularly the human resources strategy. The fourth learning objective is to demonstrate awareness of the content domains of an HR strategy. When we talk about the contents, we are talking about the actual contents of the strategy. That is what it is. So the fifth learning objective is to critically evaluate an organization's HR strategy in light of underlying theories. I hope you guys remember that I talked about theories, that theories have a set of assumptions. They are empirically tested, and there is a wide ranged support for these theories or those assumptions held by or proposed by those theories. So theories are very useful because they help us to predict what can happen by the manipulation of things in our environment, particularly in the organizations. So last learning objective refers to explain the process, content, and implementation issues of HR strategy. It looks to me a very interesting chapter because we are reaching at that stage where now we can talk about HR strategy. And we have developed the foundations and we have understood what is strategic human resource management, how it was evolved over the period of time, what is strategy, what is people management, different terminologies in the field. If you recall and if you revisit those videos, I hope that you would be able to realize that you have gained some knowledge and you would be able to now talk about what is HR strategy. We will only discuss or very briefly read two definitions of strategic human resource management, or in other words, HR strategy. As I said that, it is hardly possible to review all the definitions offered by the academicians and practitioners. We will see that what Boxall and Purcell 2008 suggest. They define HR strategy as a firm's pattern of strategic choices in labor management. Let's see this definition again. So the pattern of strategic choices in labor management. If you recall, when we were talking about the definition of a strategy, we were talking about the pattern of choices an organization used to deploy, the pattern of choices an organization has to action or to achieve its performance by allocating those resources. So very similar to that definition is Boxall and Purcell definition about HR strategy is the pattern of strategic choices in labor management. Let's have a look at another definition that is offered by Grattan and Truss in 2003 on page 74. This is how you write academically by giving the references, and this is called insight or in-text citations. When you are offering something which is the definition and you are not changing the words, you are putting them in the inverted commas and you close them with the quotation marks. So this refers to that it is the exact definition how somebody has offered, and you have to offer the page number for that. So anyway, moving forward, so Gretton and Truss, they suggest that a strategy with its underpinning policies and processes that an organization develops and implement for managing its people to optimal effect. Actually, I have to read those definitions as it is because I cannot change these definitions, or in other words, I don't have a legitimate authority to change these definitions. These are the definitions offered by someone, and you have to quote them, you have to read them, or you have to cite them as it is. So, if you look at these two definitions or many other definitions offered about HR strategy, what we can conclude, where we can reach, or what we can learn. In both definitions, what we can see is common, and what is the message? That the HR strategy is to achieve certain organizational outcomes through the effective management of people. In the first definition, we say labor management, or in this definition, we say managing people to optimal effect. So, people management in general is the term used. However, when we talk about personnel management, we are particularly referring to employees. So, people in the organization or the personnel or employees of the organization, how an organization used to manage their people to achieve the outcomes of the organization. What are the outcomes of the organization? What are the possible outcomes of an organization? They are simply performance. But if you look at the scorecard or balanced scorecard approach, then you can see financial performance, then you see that the brand management and so on, and the employee satisfaction or the welfare of the society, then you might see that in a broader perspective, there can be many outcomes. But when we look at this outcomes in a narrow sense, then that is the performance of the organization, how organizations manage their human resources to achieve the outcomes. We call that HR strategy or human resources strategy. Thank you.